Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are. Thank you for checking into the 9H-HAM GlobalNet, which convenes every other Thursday at this time on quite a few repeaters. But before I go there, I'd like to mention that this is the 100th net. So we've been going for approximately a little less than 4 years, mostly nonstop. And I'm happy to see that, and thank you for all those who make this net possible, and thank you for all those who participate in the net as well, because without you, the net would not happen. I'm going to try to keep my transmissions short, which is a challenge for me, simply because if I keep going for more than, I think it's 3 minutes, I will automatically be disconnected from this link. This is November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey with tonight's edition of the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. I'd like to thank a lot of people. The idea was born and brought to fruition by Anthony, 9H5FA, and by Steve, 9H1 Sugar Fox, and it has been going, as I said, for a total of almost 4 years. It's been a lot of fun, and hopefully it will continue to be fun and continue to be of use to everybody who checks into the net or who simply listens in. Quite a few people to thank. First of all, Anthony, who is mostly the backbone of this net and does a lot of work in the background and some in the foreground as well. I just mostly hold the net and chit-chat and have a lot of fun and enjoy meeting new hams and new people. And I know that there are new hams going through the amateur radio classes, and hopefully when they graduate, they'll feel inclined to join the net and join the fun.
G32ZM joining in.
Bill, thank you for checking in. I'd like to thank the 9H1 UHF repeater trustees. I would like to also thank the 9H1 DMR trustee. Incidentally, at this point in time, there are some issues between the 9H1 DMR repeater and Echolink, so we are not carrying the net on Echolink this evening via 9H1 DMR. We also have a YouTube channel, and you can hear the net or a recording of the net on that YouTube channel. And I'd like to thank all those who participate. Like I said, without you there wouldn't be a net. And everybody else who may have a suggestion or anything like that for the net to be more interesting, so to speak. So let's see. I have G3DZ. Pardon me, Bill. I'm not all awake yet. G3TZM checking in. I have you checked in, and I'll take some more check-ins at this point in time. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey.
Nine Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha, and just an update. I have received communication just a couple of hours ago from 9H1 Uniform Sierra, who's the curator of the EMR, repeater, and he he did some magic, and temporarily, at least for tonight, the DMR repeater is connected to Echolink. It might suddenly disconnect, it might suddenly hang up, but at the moment we are connected. And I'd like to thank Antoine, 9H-HAM Uniform Sierra, for taking the trouble to try and set up an emergency system. And this is Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha checking in.
Very good. Thank you for that update, Anthony. So far I have myself, 9H5FA, and G3TZM. Any other check-ins at this point in time?
Nine Henry 1 Foxtrot Bravo Sierra.
Charlie, good evening to you. Good evening to you, Bill. Good evening to you, Anthony, as well. Thank you for checking in. We'll take check-ins a bit further down the log. In the meantime, I certainly hope that everybody is doing well. I also certainly hope that winter is not that bad wherever you are. It's getting better, let's put it that way. It's a beautiful day, no clouds in the sky, the sun is shining, the temperature is approximately 2 degrees Celsius, and anything above freezing is just wonderful for us at this point in time. So no complaints. The cats are in the window, sunbathing, and probably listening to the net as well. Okay, very good. Anthony, did I leave anything or anybody out in our introduction there? Let me know. 9H5FA and 7APW.
7APW, 9H5FA. Yes, you have left 2 people out. One of them is yourself, and 7APW, who does a lot of work behind the scenes and the online meetings we've had and whatever. And taking over the net several times. And the other person we forgot is 9 Hotel 1 Foxtrot Bravo Sierra, who has also taken over the net a number of times. And I'd like to thank him. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Getting me out of trouble. 9H5FA and the net and 7APW. Bill, how are you doing this evening? How are things in your neck of the woods? I hope everything is well. G3TZM with the net and 7APW.
Yeah, N7APW and the net from G3TZM. Yes, good evening all. Just to add to what Anthony said earlier on, Antoine emailed me a week ago to say that the repeater Echolink computer is not working. He said it's faulty and he's thinking of not using Echolink anymore since the repeater itself is already on the internet. So that's just a bit of background to that. Yeah, we're fine, thanks, Jerry. I was in... I had to go to a hospital yesterday to see a consultant, and for the first time in my life, I'm actually on a course of pills for indefinitely. I've tried to avoid them all these years up to now. I'll be 80 in a few weeks, and I've never been on any pills for any length of time. Just the odd paracetamol now and again, or something like that, or the odd antibiotic when I've had a sore throat or something, I don't know. So there we are. And yeah, a bit of news. We're probably going to Malta in May for a month, but we'll see how it goes because We've got a place booked, and we'll be in Moscow again. So we're hoping to have some more parties over there. So I'll be having I've got about three birthday parties booked. And we've also had the first of the 90th birthdays this year. We went to a 90th birthday tea party last Saturday. My aunt in Malta is 90 at the end of April, so we're hoping to have a bit of a bash out there when we get there for her, as well as us, for our wedding anniversary and my 80th. And then my wife's brother is 90 in September, so we've got that to look forward to as well. So quite a bit going on, Jerry. And the weather's up and down here at the moment. It's going to rain tonight, during the night, and then hopefully it's going to dry up tomorrow morning again.
Bill, congratulations. If you've managed to avoid a regular regimen of pills all this time, that's extremely good. I honestly can't say the same. But still, here we are, and that's what's important. And I hope you get to go to Malta in May, spend a month, and enjoy birthdays. How quiet or how noisy, and I understand that part of the answer is depending on where you are, but can you find quiet spots still in Mostar relative to obviously other popular destinations?
From G3TZM. It depends what you mean by quiet spot. You mean quiet spot radio or quiet spot personnel, with people and tourists. Mostar's okay. It depends whereabouts you are in Mostar. It is fairly quiet in most of the sort of outlying, other than the main roads. Radio-wise, it's got absolutely terrible. The noise level in the centre of town is on the radio is absolutely unbelievable. It quietens down to about S7 at 2 o'clock in the morning, but the rest of the day it's sort of S9 plus, and it stopped me from working HF in Mostar while we're staying there, because I don't know whether you appreciate we stay in Mostar as much as we can. Every time we're there, sometimes twice, 3 times a year, depending on what's going on. So that should answer your question, I hope, Jerry. N7APW G3TZM.
It's amazing. I don't know honestly what the noise level is here. I know that we have above ground power cables and phone lines and everything else because the neighborhood was built in 1950. But I don't know what the HF noise level was. Luckily, when I was in Houston way back in the 80s, the noise level was a 5 and 4. And 5 and 4 with a beam is not bad, but 5 and 7, 5 and 9 with anything means that unless someone's almost pegging your meter, you may not hear them. Okay, I see some more check-ins. And I hope you get to go, and I hope you get to enjoy yourself. I know you always do. And so we're looking forward to working you from there as well. Although the last time I was there, I never managed to get a hold of you, not through any fault of your own, but probably because I wasn't on the MR that much. This is November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey with the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. Let me take a small pause for additional check-ins.
is 9 Hotel 1 Tango Lima. Name is Chris.
Nine Hotel 2, Juliet Golf. Name here is Jonathan. Good evening, everyone.
Good, thank you for checking in. 9 Hotel 2, Juliet Golf, and 9 Hotel I promise I'll wake up when my first cup of coffee kicks in. And 9 Hotel 1 Tango Lima. Good evening to you, Chris, and also to you, Jonathan. I certainly hope you're both doing okay. Charlie, how are you doing? I hope everything is well with you as well, and thank you for checking into the 100th edition of the 9H-HAM GlobalNet.
Five and 78PW would be 9H-HAM GlobalNet. This is 9H1 FBS. Oh, I'm okay, quite well. Dougie's got extra time today. He's going to bed a bit later because I have to be listening to this. We had quite a good amount of rain yesterday, but it cleared up today. As Anthony was saying, it was a very nice day today. So, I'll just say 73 to everybody. Fortunately, unfortunately, I tried to contact 9H1 Juliet Lima, but I couldn't get through on the telephone. I don't know why. Anyway, I wished to send my condolences to him for the loss of his wife. Okay, and 78PW, 9H1 FBS.
Yeah, very good, Charlie. 9H1 FBS with the 9H-HAM GlobalNet and 7APW. We're all saddened by the news of Joe's wife's passing away, which happened probably a few days ago, almost a week ago, I would think. I'm not exact on the date, but I'll make sure that I'll send him a note and pass your condolences to him as well, Charlie. Very good. Over to you, Chris. I hope you're doing well and not working too terribly hard. But nobody can predict that either. 9 Hotel 1 Tango Lima with the 9H-HAM net and 7APW.
And 7APW, this is 9 Hotel 1 Tango Lima. Name is Chris. I'm just waiting for the weather to improve so that I can do some more gardening. When it rains, obviously the soil is a bit difficult to work, and everything is just a mess. I'm waiting for things to dry up a bit more, and I can get back to my hobby. Gardening is probably one of my bigger hobbies, but I guess that means that I have some more time for other of my other hobbies. I have a lot of painting to do. I have 2 paintings that I should have completed by the end of February, so I'm going to be busy on those. And by then, I suppose there will be a few days that would have there will be a few drier days where I can sort of fix the damage from the recent storm. All right, back to net control. And 7APW, this is 9 Hotel 1 Tango Lima, Chris.
Okay, very good, Chris. I'd like to remind everybody that this is an open net. Just feel free to jump in, make a comment, add a comment, start a new topic. We don't have a specific topic today. I believe We were somewhat expecting a guest to come by and say hello to us, but Anthony can correct me on that. And I'll also pass it back to Anthony. If someone is interested in giving a shot at being net control or making a presentation, and the presentations aren't really limited in time, preferably less than half an hour, but you know, if you have a 5-minute presentation, don't ever hesitate to give it a shot. You know, we all enjoy it, and I'm sure that it will generate conversation and questions and everything else. Jonathan, let me pass it back to you, or actually let me pass it to you, and I hope you're well, and thank you again for checking in to the 100th edition of the 9H-HAM Net. 9H2 Juliet Golf, November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey.
This is 9 Hotel 2 Juliet Golf with the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. First of all, good evening to everyone. And it's been quite long since I last checked in. Yes, from my side, I'm alright. My daughter is alright as well. Obviously, I'm a bit shocked regarding Joe's wife's passing away. And as I posted on social media, I wish him and all his family the condolences. It's something very sad when you lose someone dear to you, but unfortunately, it's part of life. On a different note, before when I checked in, I heard you and Bill talking regarding noise level. I live in a part of Ledley, where St. Monica School is. So basically, HF, I don't work from home, and I just work only stop mobile. Even VHF and UHF in the car, I have an external antenna and the stock rubber ducky. When I'm at the Trikara, when I'm in a rural area, I have to swap from the external antenna back to the rubber ducky, because the noise level, it's like a full signal strength on my handheld radio in the car. So it's like there's some signal coming in, but obviously it's noise. And I don't hear nobody, I don't hear the repeater, I'm just blank. So by switching from the external antenna to the internal antenna, I eliminate that
Yeah, I guess echoing is cutting everybody off. Is that what just happened? I just got disconnected, and obviously I know to reconnect again. Is anybody else experiencing the same thing? And 7APW.
7APW, this is 9H-5FA. That's a yes, Jerry. Every time you were disconnected, I was disconnected too. And the YouTube stream was obviously cut off. And I reconnected back immediately. So it happened twice now. Exactly at the same time it happened to you. And 7APW with the 9H-HAM GlobalNet, this is 9H-5FA.
Yeah, me too, Jerry, G3TZMO.
Same here, Jerry. I I kept talking to myself. I don't know which part of my conversation was cut off, basically. Back to you, Net Controller.
Okay, very good, guys. 9H and 7APW returning with 9H-HAM net. Well, if I have a sneaky suspicion that I'm sure that if not all of us, but most of us connect via a proxy server, and if for whatever reason the proxy server goes away or becomes invisible, then we'll all get disconnected or dropped. I'm not sure about that, but I'll look into it, because if it's happening to us, it's obviously probably happening to anybody who holds either a net or a conversation, a long conversation on Echolink. And while we have a solution to it, and it works, everybody reconnects. But oh, maybe I'm getting old. I suppose it becomes a bit of an annoyance. But you know, Echolink has been around quite a long time. They have upgraded it, but I'll look into it and see before most people used to choose the direct option as opposed to the proxy option, and then that stopped working. But apparently now it's working again. Now, if you connect directly, then you're not at the mercy of any proxy, if the proxy is where the issue is. One moment.
APW 9H-HAM. Jerry, I see your point. I am connected to a proxy, but it's very unlikely that all of us are connecting to the same proxy. And I don't think that three different proxies will just collapse together, unless there's some other thing which I'm not seeing. Back to the group. This is November. This is 9H-5SA.
I was doubling with anybody, but there are a whole list of lines saying doubling with 9H1 UHF-R. Did I do that?
Jerry, I think you were doubling with me. But my voice went through the repeater because I'm monitoring the repeater while I'm talking. And Echolink is saying it's popped up two reports for 9H1 UHF-R, which both read exceeded key down time. So I think it's something to do with the timeout, if I'm understanding correctly, but it can't. I don't know if it's this repeater or something. It's more central in Echolink. Back to the floor. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Well, it was my understanding that the timer on Echolink was at 5 minutes, but maybe it has changed, and maybe we should verify that, and also verify the timeout of the repeater, because I'm sure that just like my Echolink, there's a timeout value that can be changed. In fact, I changed mine down to 2 minutes, and maybe, and I've done this before, I've been guilty of this before. Maybe I don't wait to allow the repeater's timer to recycle, and it does reach to 5 minutes, and then we got caught. And that may be an issue too. So I really should practice what I preach, right? We'll give about a 5-second timeout or more between exchanges. But I hear a squelch tail right after I finish my transmission, maybe about 2 seconds afterwards. And I was assuming that was a reset, but I shouldn't assume anything. November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey. Okay, let's try giving that kind of pause between exchanges. Anthony, if you may, can you give us the information about if someone is interested in either hosting the net, and we will guide you. I don't have a problem with that. It's not a challenge, but it's interesting at first. But it's really, especially the format of the net that we have now, which is not a directed net, is a bit simpler, and it's almost like being a part of a QSO. Can you give us the information on where someone could send an email with either a topic that they would like to share with the net, or their interest in being or hosting the net? 9H-5FA with the 9H-HAM GlobalNet and 7APW.
With the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. Yeah, Jerry, thanks for for bringing this up. Okay, so let me sort of mention something else first, which you referred to. Yes, we are supposed to have a guest today, who might be connecting at a slightly later time, because he had some things which prevented him from connecting early. And he's supposed to give us an update on some activities, or rather a particular activity. I hope he comes in. If he doesn't, he'll come in next step. Let me pause. With regards to any help for the net, probably we would appreciate very much if there's anyone who could occasionally take on the net. And if there's anyone who could help in updating the log of the user log of every net, which is online. I haven't had a chance to update it for a couple of months now. I'd like to thank Jerry for offering to help with the YouTube page, because there are some updates I have to do there as well. So any help would be appreciated, and the best way to contact is probably to use my email address, which appears on qrz.com. I read that email daily. Just write an email, and I'll get back to you by phone or whatever means, and we can discuss. And any help would be very much appreciated, and obviously also acknowledged. Back to the floor. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Well, Anthony, I can do both, actually. It's either that or learning how to knit a sweater. Excuse me. Not really, but I have the time. So I'll be more than happy to learn how to do both and catch everything up. And once everything's caught up, then it's a matter of a once every 2 week affair. And I'm sure I can handle that even at this age. So there you are. I do volunteer, and I know we're going to try to meet over the weekend so that I can get a good grasp of what needs to be done on YouTube, and we can include that on the agenda and go from there. And 7APW.
And 7APW. Thanks a lot, Jerry. Really appreciate. And yeah. I think I'm coming through with a lot of QRM. I'm going to try another antenna. I think my battery is about to fail. Not another antenna, another radio. Sorry. My next communication will be with a different radio. See if it makes any difference. Back to the floor 9. Hotel 5 Fox Hotel.
Just said you're very noisy at some points. Others you're not, so it could be just that you're moving around or right on the fringes of a bad spot, or maybe a not so good antenna connection. But we can hear you, so we'll wait for your next transmission. Any other check-ins for the 9H-HAM GlobalNet? November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. Hearing none, the TV is here full of news about the terrible accident that happened in Washington, D.C. last night, involving a plane and a military helicopter. There are some things that make sense to me that seem to either not make sense to others, do not occur to others, that they're playing with fire, or else that, and I shouldn't say this way because I hope it's not correct, maybe nobody cares, but that was the circumstances that led to this were horrible, in my opinion. I don't know whether there's another way to say that. Human life is so precious, and we only realize that when it's no longer there. And 67 people total lost their life within seconds. And the sadder part is they keep playing a video of the accident, and I think that should be limited to. I can put myself in a survivor's position, and I'm not sure that's what I want to see continually on television. N7APW.
Yeah, from G3TZM, just very quickly on that one, Jerry. There is some speculation at the moment that the helicopter pilot had night vision goggles on, which would have limited his normal visibility in the darkness, and all bright lights probably look the same with the goggles on. But so we wait to see what the accident people come up with. But it was pretty clear from the radar and from the chat that the airliner was doing the right thing, absolutely the right thing, and you could see the chopper coming in towards it. So we'll just have to wait and see what the NTSB have to say from G3T's and MO.
Yeah, I went onto live ATC because they played a sound bite or a snippet from air traffic control, but it was too short, and so I went on live ATC and actually found the recording and listened to the last 5 minutes of the recording, and it's fairly revealing. And this is not a question of really pointing fingers, but the question that comes to my mind is the river, which is just outside or not too far away from the airport, is a corridor for military aircraft to go up and down. And most of the planes, when they take off from Reagan Airport in Washington, D.C., veer towards the left, which is right over the river. And and I listen to other airports, for example, Los Angeles. If there's a helicopter within a certain area, they tell it you can't cross. It's a restricted area. Sorry, go around. And but let me recycle here. After the fact, and I understand that, and I won't point fingers at anybody because, first of all, I'm not an expert, and second of all, I wasn't there. But you're absolutely right. Night flying, it's been, I don't drive anymore, but it was quite a few years before I stopped driving that I decided I'm not driving at night because I'm not safe, and that may not be the case, but it's true what they say. Everything looks different in darkness. And 7APW.
APW, the 9H-HAM, GlobalNet, this is 9H-5SA. I'm using a different handheld, but it's still a handheld with a rubber antenna, with a rubber ducky. I think the problem is I'm currently in a room with metal shelving all around me. So when I'm sort of in a more or less a Faraday cage here, I think that could be a problem, I'm not sure. And I'm using a rubber ducky at the moment because my external antenna is disconnected. Yeah, that could be the problem. Regarding the accident, I've seen the video clip which has been playing, and this is a very good idea to go onto live ATC. It's crossed my mind that live ATC actually allows you to listen to recordings of practically all the towers and frequencies which it relays. Yeah, I think I'll do that tonight. Thanks for the heads up, Jerry. back to the group. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
That transmission was perfect, by the way.
Then the reason could have been my other radio because the battery was very low. So, yeah, that could have been another reason. Thanks, Jerry, for back to the net. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Very good, 9H-5FA and APW and the net. Yeah, there are quite a few resources now. Of course, Live ATC has been around quite a while. And the exchanges right at the end were, for obvious reasons, very quick. Too quick for me to decipher, but you can slow down the playback, at which point in time mind can understand what's being said, but it's either way it's horrible, and the loss of life is always something very sad. All right, and 7APW with the 9H-HAM GlobalNet, and there's also ooh, I lost that train of thought. It just evaporated. Anything else for the net? I hope everybody is having a good evening. November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey. Okay, very good. Any other late check-ins? And 7APW. Anything else that comes to mind, Anthony? And 7APW.
So in APW with the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. Not really. I was hoping that our guest would be able to connect, but maybe something cropped up. So, yeah, that will be on next fortnight, in the next meeting, and perhaps with more information as well. I won't divulge what he was going to info was going to give, but this was a very interesting amateur radio activity occurring here in Malta. It's actually not a single activity, it's a long-term thing. Okay, so I don't have anything else to add from my end. I agree with you completely, Jerry, about the excessive repeated cycling of that clip showing the actual accident. I mean, it might be news to people at large, but to those who actually had relatives or friends on board, it's not nice to recycle that thing. It's not something they want to remember. So back to the net. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Okay, Jonathan, I see your note that you have to go. Thank you for participating in the net. We'd like to see you again. and in 2 weeks. And I hope you have a great evening and a great rest of your week. I have a question for the net. I'd like some input because I think it's something that we may consider doing. But before that, let me give a pause. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey with the 9H-HAM GlobalNet.
And 7APW, this is 9H-1TL. I'm sorry about that. I heard you asking a question, but I lost the last bit. Could you repeat that, please?
Chris, excuse me, you were paying attention. I haven't asked a question yet. I'm wondering whether it would be beneficial for all those people who are going through the ham radio class currently for us to maybe go to the club one Thursday evening and host the net from over there. And I think it would be, but I'd like to hear everybody else's take on this. N7APW.
Well, that depends on what time the lesson ends, because you don't want to interrupt it, you know.
This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. The lessons end at 8, so just bang on so that we could start. But the lessons are only held at 1. But the lessons are held at one of the clubs, and there are 2. So I'm not sure what activity the other club would have going on at that time, or whether there would be some activity. But this is something I could check out. No problem with that. So yeah, that's something to think about. By the way, there's a very long delay on Echolink at the moment, about 5 seconds at least. I'm monitoring myself, and I'm hearing myself on Echolink about 3 to 5 seconds after I actually talk on RF. Back to the net. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Any feelings one way or the other about this topic, Chris? And APW.
And 7APW, this is 9H-1TL, Chris. Yeah, I think it would be a great idea to host a session at the club. I imagine you're referring to the MARL club. I'm very thankful to the MARL club for having given me the lessons, for the licensing. I remember Carmenu teaching me Morse code as well, so that's where I learned it as well. I'm very thankful for that. So yeah, I think it would be a great way of giving something back as well, and also promoting this net. This net is very important to me because it keeps me dedicated a bit to the hobby. I have so many hobbies that it's a struggle to keep up, and having a scheduled net for me enables me to dedicate some time to it. So I think that's a great thing to do. All right, back to net control N7APW 9H1TL.
This is 9H5SA. Chris, actually we could do this at both clubs. We could occasionally hold the net at one and occasionally there. Steve, who was one of the, people who actually originated this net, is part of the Mark Club, the MARC, and I'm sure he'll be happy, and Marl should be happy as well, I guess. So we might try both. Back to the net. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
From G3TZM. Yes, that sounds like a very good idea. But what I will say is that MARC, the club at Imtarfa, actually advertised this net on, and I get the message from them that the net is on. In fact, my wife told me this evening, "Are you going on the net?" And I said, "Oh, I suppose so. I hadn't seen the advert, but they do it." And as you say, Steve, 9 Hotel 1 Sierra Fox, is very, very active with the Imtarfa Club, and I've no doubt that they would be quite happy to run one of the nets as well. It would mean somebody going up there on a Thursday evening, but if they combine it with something like a barbecue or one of their excellent sort of social events, it would make it really buzz, and it would help a lot, I think. So yeah, Anthony, if you can contact Steve and tell him, I do need to contact him about something else that I've got planned for May, but I'll do that in due course. But it might be a good idea to contact him and ask him. But it sounds like a very good idea to me. N7APW, G3TZM, over.
Bill, thank you very much. And also, the newer hams get to meet the licensed hams, and that's important. It really doesn't matter which club you belong to, at least in my opinion. What matters is that you're a licensed ham, and we can all help each other and encourage each other to perhaps go further and branch out into different areas of ham radio. And that's all good. I mean, we've all gone through it. We've all been mentored. We've all learned a lot of stuff. And most of us are very willing to share that stuff with others who are interested in learning more. And that makes the hobby very vibrant. And I have no complaints. I've never really met anybody who was not friendly or helpful, some less than others, some more than others. But I can honestly say that 90% of my friends are ham radio operators. And that's not just now, but throughout my life. So it's a community that I guess you grow old with, for a better choice of phrases, but I've enjoyed it immensely in the last 50 years. And I could suggest, I wish I could do more, but I think it's a good idea too. And plus somebody will see firsthand what net control is all about, and that's good too. And 7APW.
Yeah, from G3TZM, chopping in again. Yeah, okay, Jerry, that's fine. And I used to lecture to CB clubs, CB radio clubs, when I used to live in the northwest of England. And I used to tell them that if they have half as much fun as I've had on radio, they'll be having a ball, because amateur radio has given me such a huge amount of fun over the years, with field days, with emergency communications. I was 36 years a member of the National Emergency Communication Organisation, as being a scientific advisor and to emergency planning officers in both in the northwest and here in the Midlands, in the West Midlands. So you know, the radio featured very, very high in all of those, and it's been great fun. And if as I say, if people have a quarter of the fun I've had, they'll be having a whale of a time. G3TZM over.
G3TZM and 7APW with the net. I can say the same thing, and I can say also that necessity is the mother of invention. I remember once I was in, let me recycle this repeater, otherwise it'll chop me off, at 7APW. Time ago, I was in Visalia, California, which is about 20-25 miles away from Fresno, California. And I was working there for a total of 3 weeks and took a handheld with me and what I thought would be a good external antenna, homemade. And I realized that the closest repeater was 20 miles away, and simple dipole taped to a window didn't cut it. So I went to the hardware store and bought myself a piece of wood and some tape and a measuring tape and a pair of pliers, and I actually fashioned a 4-element 2-meter beam for those materials, and my HT was obviously lower power, so that measuring tape could handle that power. And I aimed it at the repeater, and the repeater came in with a 5 and 9. And I'm going, this is a lot of fun. Somewhere in the basement, I still have that foldable 2-meter Yagi, 4-element Yagi. And it brings back a lot of memories. And 7APW.
Yeah, from G3TZM, yeah. That's great, Jerry. Yeah, I've done the same thing. I used to do a lot of talks and demonstrations about amateur radio to various different organisations, to the Birmingham Electric Club when I was a member there, and from a metal coat hanger, a wire coat hanger, and that's out in Malta at the moment. That's in my stuff in Mosta. That's out there. I also made from 300 ohm ribbon feeder, and that works extremely well as well. So to be able to cart those around and do demonstrations on the radio and access local repeaters was really, because it showed people exactly what was going on. A lot of fun, as you say. And I'm having a lot of fun here because Maggie's brought me a glass of rum and coke. I keep lambs running, and every now and again I do like a tot, and so I have a glass of rum and coke at the moment, and I might have another one later. G3TZM.
Very good, Bill. Cheers to you. Happy sipping. It's just past 1 o'clock here. It's not too early for a rum and coke. At least not in my world, anyway. And as you very well know, it's very nice to be retired and to basically get a lot of the rules that the world has put on us in earlier years and just ignore them. Yeah, that's always been very much fun, and I've enjoyed it. And I came across actually an article a few weeks ago about a Slim Jim made out of a coat hanger, and there's another diagram. They're all over the place. If you look, you'll find about using twin lead and all that. So, and it's very rewarding because you see the results, and that's what's important. All right, this is N7APW.
Yeah, can I ask Bill a question? Let's see.
Yeah, go ahead, Charlie.
For the uninitiated like me, what's the difference? Because I have this question for you. You said rum and coke. Okay, what's the difference between rum and Bacardi? Isn't Bacardi also a rum or what?
Yes, from G3TZM. Yes, they're both rums. Bacardi is clear, and the other rums, most of the other rums are dark. They're the sort of colour of molasses or sugary, but they're all made pretty much the same way, except that Bacardi's clear. Now, a very nice drink with Bacardi is a shot of Bacardi, the same size shot of lime juice, and topped up with lemonade as a cool, refreshing drink. They're very, very nice. G3TZM over.
That's very interesting. Anyway, guys, I haven't had any supper yet, or dinner, or whatever you call it. I'm not in for a lot because I had quite a good lunch today, so I had a few peanuts. One of them dropped on the ground and vanished immediately. And if I do this, let me see. In a few seconds, yep, he's already there, man. Ciao alaikum, Hamid. Good evening. I hope to meet you in 2 weeks' time. 9H-1FBS, clear.
(9H-1FBS) 73, and thanks for joining. Bill, before you leave, I've got a short question for you. Let me see if Charles wants to say anything else before that is more clear before he leaves. So 9H-1FBS, if you're still there, is there anything else you'd like to say? This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
I'm okay. I'm listening. Don't worry. I'm just listening on the side because Mr. Troy, I think, needs another peanut.
Yeah. He'll ask. I'm sure he'll ask. And he'll keep asking. G3TZM, Bill, you mentioned CB. What is the situation of CB in the UK, in the sense that, is there any activity on CB in the UK? I have CB set 27 megahertz to be the standard one and set to the UK and European frequencies channels. And well, in Malta I never get anything, and no one seems to talk on the CB, not even for car-to-car or vehicle communications. And when I was in the UK last, I took it with me and left it monitoring channel 19, I think. And at one point in time, I did listen to a communication which went, I think, between two drivers, which might have gone on for 2 minutes, but that was it. There was complete silence for the rest of the day. What's the situation, Mario, in the UK? Are you aware of this? I mean, I wasn't, when I listened to them, I was in Southend. I was in Southend-on-Sea. GTTZM, this is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
From G3TZM. Well, I honestly don't know, Anthony. I do see a few CB aerials on cars. There's big long whips with a very fat coil at the bottom, fat coil that's encased in plastic or something. You know, I do see them about on the occasional trucks and cars, but as for activity, I have no idea whatsoever. They did become licensed in the UK, but it caused all sorts of controversy, and there were all sorts of arguments, and then they set up an emergency radio organisation in competition, if you like, with RayNet, which was the one I belonged to, the Radio Amateurs Emergency Network, which, as I say, I was a member for 36 years, from member to deputy group controller to county controller to public relations officer. In fact, I actually won an award for public relations work with the organisation. So it was very interesting recently to see emergency comms taking place in Malta. They might need a proper organisation rather than just a scratch team. It's all very nice to be able to pull people in, but it's even better if they're on call. And as I say, I was on call on and off for 36 years, and I think I only ever lost 2.5 days of work in 36 years, which is a pretty good record. But CB, I don't know. Apart from all the aggro that went on and all the strange language, I always think that anybody that emulates people who run illegal activity and use strange language like twigs and personal and all that rubbish, I always used to say to them, on amateur radio, we speak in English. G3TZM.
GT3ZM with the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. I wasn't aware that CB in the UK has been licensed. And Malta, as far as I know, in the rest of Europe, it's license-free. The 27 megahertz band is license-free. I wasn't, so this is something post-Brexit, I guess, right? In the UK. GT3ZM, this is 9H5FA.
From G3TZM. No, it was long before anything to do with Brexit. I don't know, like I said, I don't know what the situation is at the moment but there was licenses issued. The idea was to stop all the interference, because there used to be a huge amount of interference to television and radio with some of the cheap rubbishy radios that were around. The same sort of thing happened with amateur radio, but those situations have gone now, especially with the manufacturers taking account of it. I think the Swedish companies were the first to sort of amateur radio-proof televisions, and it seems now that most electronics are proof against, they're proved against RFI, but they actually, in a lot of cases, they actually cause RFI, which is why we have these huge noise levels everywhere, with everything being electronic these days. Everybody relies on electronics, probably too much, and in fact we're going to have to rely on it a lot more, because I don't know if you're aware that all the landlines in the UK are going to go, and the whole country will have to revert to the internet. Now that's all very nice, provided that in the first case that mobile phone operators have got either UPSs or generators, or maybe even batteries, to back up in the case of power supply failures, because if there's any emergencies and you haven't got a base station nearby, how the hell are you going to contact anybody? In addition to that, you will all have to rely on making sure that not only do our mobile phones have a backup battery and they're fully charged, but you know, to make in good condition. So there we go. G3T-ZM.
G3T-ZM. I don't want to hold the mic for too long, because there's Jerry here, and I think Chris as well, and I'm not sure if there's Jonathan. So let me pass on the mic to any one of those who would like to say something before I actually pass a short comment on the communication system which you just mentioned. This is 9H-HAM 5 Foxtrot Alpha. Well, none of them came in, so I'm going to pass a short comment myself. Bill, in Malta, the traditional wired fixed line disappeared as well a couple of years, and the fixed lines we have now are connected via fiber optic internet or via cable. But if the power in your house fails, the phone fails as well, because the phone is connected to a router which is actually plugged into your home's power supply. And yeah, and same holds for cable. I mean, the connection between the set and your cable goes through a gateway which is plugged into your home electrical socket. So, incidentally, I had, before this was happened, I had one fixed line which I kept for emergencies, because if there's a power failure, at least I could use this number. When this happened, I just gave up. I terminated the service. So one day, the company guys came knocking on my door. Well, they sent a notice before, saying we came to remove your set and replace the connection with the fiber optic cable. So I let them do it, and a week later I terminated the service. I didn't need it anymore. The only reason I was keeping it was in case of power supply failures. Back to the net, this is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Yeah, from G3TZM. Okay, a couple of quick things I can tell you. In the United Kingdom, CB radio was first legally introduced in 1981, but had been used illegally for some years prior to that, as you probably know. In December 2006, CB radio became license-free or exempt of the fee. So that's what I can tell you right now. The other thing is the Ofcom, the authority, which is like MCA in Malta, here in the UK, Ofcom, have actually got a booklet which I'll send you I can email it to you on CB radio. And as far as the phones go, yes, at the moment, if we have a power cut in the house here, I usually check locally to see whether it's just us or whether it's somebody else. If it's the whole street or the whole area, as we've had a few times recently, in recent years, I'm the first one to ring them in, partly because of the job I used to do with government, and I usually ring it in because sometimes the electricity company don't even know there's been a failure, or they're not very quick to respond. It takes time for the message to get through, but I won't be able to do that anymore. G3TZM.
And 7APW.
Jerry, go ahead.
Okay, very good. And 7APW with a few comments. Actually, I won't remember them all. Voice over IP has taken over, as you very well said, Anthony, and you too, Bill. But I do have a generator, but it has a 10-second delay, which is not too bad. But if you're in the middle of something on your computer connected, etc., and the power goes out, 10 seconds is enough for you to lose everything. Hopefully not, but it is. And so I have a UPS on the computer. That way it catches those 10 seconds between the commercial power going off and the generator or emergency power coming on, which leaves us with only one issue. It's fine that you have power in your house, but if your distribution point doesn't have emergency power as well, that's as far as you go. In fact, I changed ISPs, and now I have fiber optic to the house, and they are new in town, and they did the installation about 4 months ago, and they do have backup generators at every distribution point that they are wiring around town. Interestingly enough, since it's an old neighborhood, let me recycle. Fiber optic cables are above ground, so they're hanging just like the power cable is hanging, and the old telephone twisted pair cable. And that was not an issue before, because all those exchanges, all those telephone exchanges ran on, if I'm not mistaken, 24 volts, and they were all battery. The phone really, unless somebody hit a pole and damaged the cables or something like that. But the phone never really died. And so that is technology that's, I can't tell you how old. I remember it all my life, so it has to be at least 65 years old. And the phones themselves didn't need power. They took power off the system. Wow. That would be good today. Now we're looking at Starlink, if we want to subscribe, in order to get an internet connection that is up in the sky, just like sky phones or satellite phones. And pretty interesting. N7APW.
G3Ts. Yeah, that's quite right. Our telephone system here is 48 volts. 48 volts, and as you say, the phone itself is powered from the telephone line, which is why, as I say, when we have a power failure here, at the moment, certainly now, if the power went off now, I'm able to ring the company on one of my old phones, which I've still got connected as an emergency phone. I can ring them and tell them about the power failure, and sometimes, as I say, they don't know about it immediately, because what happens is our electricity in the houses here is supplied in 3 phases. It's 3-phase supply from the substation. We've got a substation round the corner, you know, not very far away, not many kilometers away from here, and the houses in the street, my house is connected to 1 phase, and then it misses 2 houses, and then the next house along is the same phase, and so on. And sometimes we've actually lost just 1 phase. Sometimes we lose 1 phase, and so every 3rd house is on the same phase, and they lose the power. One Christmas we had a power failure in Coventry, and their telephone exchange, because the power failure was for so long that it was something like 13 hours, and the batteries ran out, so they called us out on emergency with RayNet, G3Ts at MO.
And 7APW and G3Ts at M with 9H-HAM GlobalNet. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. Bill just reminded me of something which is rather quite humorous, actually. Several years ago, and this is probably about 15 years ago, so I went out, left home in the morning, went to work, and returned home in the evening, and discovered that my fixed line was dead, completely dead. So I luckily had 2 fixed lines at home, and I used the other fixed line to call the telephone company. And, well, I skipped a bit. Let me pause a bit. Okay, so before actually calling the telephone company, I happened to talk to my neighbor, and my neighbor said that during the day, some workmen from the telephone company asked to go on the roofs of our adjacent houses and went also onto ours, because they said they were removing old cables and rewiring the fixed telephone network. And they also came onto my roof. So I went onto my roof and looked at a rewiring which they did. And you won't believe this. I had at that time installed a very basic wired 2-station intercom from my roof, from the washroom, which is on my roof, down to my apartment. and this was just literally two units powered by 9-volt batteries. Just we can communicate from the washroom down. And the wire I used to connect these was very similar to telephone wire. It wasn't telephone wire, but it was externally it seemed exactly the same, with the difference being that locally the telephone wire they used was black and mine was white. So when I went to my roof, I discovered that they removed the old telephone line, which they said they were rewiring because they were old wires. And they connected my that telephone set, or rather the company's telephone set, to my intercom line. So, unbelievable. I actually found a joint. I took a picture of it. I couldn't believe it. I found an electrical joint connection where they cut the wire, which just connected two intercoms, completely independent of any telephone, and they connected the telephone line to one of the... I actually took a picture, and I phoned the telephone company from my other line, and I told them what happened, and the guy at the other end was very apologetic, and he passed me on to some foreman, and he said, well, we'll fix the damage, and they couldn't come that night, but next morning at around 6 o'clock, there were two guys from the telephone company here, went on the roof and reversed whatever the other guys had done. Back to the net. This is 9 Hotel 5 Fox Hotel.
Yeah, from G3TZM. Yeah, I can quite believe it. I can quite believe it. We see stuff like that here on occasions too. Not so much these days. It is probably a bit better, but we have had all that sort of thing in the past. Anyway, I'm going to disappear, chaps. It's been very interesting, and sometime maybe I'll try and think of something to talk about on the net. I did come over to Malta in October and actually took on the training of some 52 Cub Scouts and in communications, showing them about amateur radio and all before they went on to the jamboree on the air, and it paid off because they weren't all mic shy. It worked out very well. They were very pleased with us. So there we are. And yes, somebody alluded to it earlier on. We were of course extremely sorry to hear about Mary, Joe's wife. Joe did actually call me on the day to tell me, because we've been close friends with them for many years, and we spend a bit of time with them and the family when we're in Malta. Unfortunately, we couldn't go, but we did watch the. We did join in with the funeral on the webcam in the church. Back to the net from G3TZF.
Okay, very good, Bill, and thank you for joining and your input and everything else. And I hope to see you again in a couple of weeks. And I wish you and yours all the best for the next week or two. Well, for more than that, actually. But until we meet again. 73's for now. And 7APW. And I don't think there's anything else for the net. If not, and let's not forget Chris, he's still listening, 9H1 Tango Lima. And thank you for listening as well, Chris. And 7APW with the 9H-HAM GlobalNet.
7 APW with 9H-HAM GlobalNet. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. Yeah, I think we've been going on for 1 hour 36 minutes, which is excellent. Yeah, I've got nothing else for the net from my end. And I believe there's 9H1 Foxtrot Bravo Sierra listening on the side as well. So if there's no one else who would like to pass any more comments and any communications, Jerry, I think we can close today's net. Back to the floor. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Hearing and seeing nothing. Not Jonathan, but Chris just disconnected. I'd like to thank everybody for checking into the net. I'd like to invite everybody to check in 2 weeks, same time, same place. Thank you for all those who participated. Thank you for those who listened in. And hopefully, if you have a topic or would like to volunteer for the net, please contact us. Anthony's email address is good on qrz.com. In the meantime, 73s and good evening to everybody. And we will all talk soon. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey.